Hello friends, my name is Jake. Welcome to Canadian Cutting Edge. This is the HARNDS Assassin. I usually stay away from knives that are designed specifically for violence against other human beings. It's just the line that I've drawn for myself that I'm more into knives used as tools. And that's what I really like. But when I saw this knife by HARNDS, and I like the HARNDS brand quite a lot, it's called the Assassin, but hey, there's a lot of good uses for a knife like this that have absolutely nothing to do with assassination. It's a catchy name. We've got a knife here that I bought. I looked at the pictures, saw it, and there's something really big missing on this thing, isn't there? There's no pocket clip. I had no idea that there was no pocket clip on this knife. So when I got it, I put it in my hands, I played with it a little bit, and I didn't even notice it then. At least I don't think so. I'll have to check the unboxing video. But now when you want to buy this knife, it's almost impossible to find it without a pocket clip. So I'll show you some pictures of this knife with pocket clips. One pocket clip per knife. And, so don't worry. There are pocket clips that are with these knives, and you most certainly can take any pocket clip off any knife, pretty much. So this is a long, skinny type knife. Certainly, extra large hands have still lots of real estate to hold on to, and yet it's small enough that it's going to be very comfortable for just about any size hand. 14C28 and stainless steel, a slight drop point blade, saber grind, and G10 handle scales, steel liners, ball bearings. I think you're going to want to check it out. Comes in several different colors, and you can get it coated blade or a satin finish. So, hey, what's not to like? You got all the options. Well, you've got most of the options you could want, I think. So let's get over to the tabletop and take a good close look at this thing. Okay, so here it is. We've got a 3D milled G10 handle scales. We've got screws that are like D-shaped pivot screws, like the pivot screw and the body screw here are the same way. So it's a nice finish on this side. And then you've got the screw head on this side. T8 for both of these, quite nice. I like this G10. It's well done, well made. We've got a backspacer with a G10 backspacer with jimping on it. And that's how big the knife is. Oh, I forgot to do that, didn't I? The size comparison with the Ontario Rat 1. So here we go. What do we got? Let's line up that pivot pin a little bit. So we've got a longer blade. It's coming just a little bit off the screen there. So maybe I can move this back a little bit. There we go, just to the edge of the screen. And then the handle as well. If I get something straight, get this piece of paper. There we go. Oh, the visuals of this is terrible because of the way the camera is. If I move this over in front of the camera, whoa, that's how it really is. But over here on the side of the screen, it looked like, they were almost the same. So there you go. That's just what perspective does sometimes. You just can't see things exactly right on a screen because of where the camera is. So we've got a longer blade, longer handle, but it's a deeper handle on the Rat than you have here. It's definitely a knife that you just, like I was saying, any size hand can get a good grip on this. And, nice milling on it. We've got some skeletonizing on the liners. We've got some milled out through the chamfer section there that your thumb can rest in there and get, a good secure hold in it. Or you can move your thumb up and get a secure hold on the jimping, which is quite nice. Just slight rounding on the liners everywhere. Not hot in the hand at all. I really like this handle quite a lot. So a reverse grip, your thumb can rest along there very comfortably and quite securely. Good hold on the grip. Good hold on the grip. Good hold. a good grip on the knife, and even a reverse grip, pull grip. You've got that slight angle on that handle right there for your thumb. So yeah, it's a very comfortable knife. I'll talk more about the lock and everything after I talk about the blade. We've got a slight drop point here, a nice wedge that starts fairly close to the handle, comes all the way along. Nice saber grind, that's a flat grind that comes part way up. I already talked about the jimping on the blade there, but here's a good look at it. It's not sharp at all. It's not aggressive. It's quite comfortable. Coming over here to the sharpener's choil. The sharpener's choil is a little bit small. The plunge is gradual coming down to the bevel side, and it takes a while to get there. So when I go to sharpen this knife, yeah, I'll probably cut into that plunge if I want to sharpen it right to the end where it was sharpened by the factory. Yeah, I'm going to cut into the plunge and leave marks. Unfortunate. Or I could make that sharpener's choil a little bit bigger. I've got a video on doing that. If you've got a Dremel type tool, you can do that with the right components, that is. So now for the flipper tab. Check that out. You've got a little bit of jimping on the front of it. Sort of looks like a bit of a triangle shape. Light switch method works fine. You can even push down on it a little bit of an angle and deploy the blade. Works very well. The lockup is very good. It's completely engaged and secure. The blade centering, pretty much close to perfect. That's quite nice. No blade play side to side, up and down. Very good. Well, if I reach right at the end here, I can make it, well, it feels like it might be some blade play, but it's just, there's no pivot that's 100% tight. Well, because then you couldn't open and close the knife, right? So there is a little bit of give, but I wouldn't call it blade play. We've got ball bearings in there, and I think, let me see if I can see it. I haven't taken it apart yet. Yeah, I can't see if it's a nylon. I think it's probably a nylon holder for those ball bearings and not a phosphor bronze cage. So decent pivot, good lockup, comfortable knife. So that's, well, other than, I forgot to say one thing, the lock arm, it's got a nice chamfer on there, very comfortable to release that lock. You'll push over, no problem. Works very well. The blade is, as you can see, very long and narrow. Comes to a very defined tip there. Very effective in puncturing things. It's not too thin right behind the tip, so it's got a good amount of strength there as well. And now let's take it apart, and then we'll go and talk about the dimensions and everything. So I took these two screws out, and they are very well-made screws. And I was wrong before if I said this was a T8. It is a T6. Fairly deep. They both have Loctite or something in there. They were quite tight to take out, but they didn't strip out or anything. My screwdrivers just made sure they're seated in all the way and took my time. Comes apart. And here, there's another screw. Once you've taken the G10 off the one side, there's another screw you've got to take apart. And that is a T6 as well. Now, I'm not going to show you all of the time that I'm spending to take this apart because that would make the video too long, so just keep watching. This screw was just turning along with it, so I couldn't get it off right away. So what I decided to do was take the blade out, and what I had to do was I put the screwdriver, a small one, T6, into the end here while it was on the knife. I'll try to demonstrate. So while it was in there, I put this in here and tapped it until the pivot screw came out. Then I could take the blade out of the way. Now it's easier to work with it safely because I don't have a sharp edge in my hands. Now I'll take this pin out, and then I'll be able to put a screwdriver on either side to take that one out. And here it is taken all the way apart. Oh, that's a little bit oily still. Let me wipe that off. So, yep, nice G10 slabs, nice blade. We've got pins that are well made. Good size stop pin. It's a big one compared to a lot of knives have. And a steel detent ball. And yes, this pin at the back here, I had to put a screwdriver on either side to get that to come apart so I could take the back spacer out. Yeah, pretty good. D-shaped pins so they don't spin. Ceramic ball bearings. Well made. Lots of skeletonizing here. Oh, I think I forgot to mention, because I'm recording this after the rest, this knife is very drop shutty. I don't like that term, but you know what I mean when I say that. It really does that easily. And it comes over the detent pretty good because they did a slight little chamfering right there. Some people call that a detent ramp, so that when you go to close it, it climbs over that quite easily. So yeah, quite nice. So now I'll put it all back together and we'll go and do the dimensions, measurements and stuff. All right, the weight of this knife, 111 grams, 3.9 ounces. Yep, this long knife, under 4 ounces, not bad. The sharpness from the factory, 130 bess, very good. The cutting edge length, 9.83 centimeters, 3.87 inches. Blade length, tip to the closest spot on the handle, 9.84 centimeters, 3.874 inches, so just a tiny bit longer. The blade thickness, 3.17 millimeters, that's 0.1245 inches, just the tiniest bit under 1/8 of an inch. Blade depth at the widest point, or deepest point, whichever way you want to say it, 20.2 millimeters, 0.7955 inches. Behind the grind, roughly an inch or so up is where I measured it, 0.63 millimeters, 24.5 thousandths of an inch. Yeah, it's a little thick behind the grind. I wish it was 20 or less. The grind angles, now this is a little bit odd. I've got two measurements for you because it's so long. I measured this area and the belly area. 23.4 degrees, 21.1 degrees. On this side, 24.1 degrees, 27.5 degrees. So, yeah, not that well done. Since this is 14C28N, I think I would easily sharpen this to 18 degrees per side all the way along. The handle length, 12.77 centimeters, 5.0275 inches. Grip area, it's a little over 11 centimeters, about 4 1/3 inches, 4.34, I think is what it, sort of a rough number of where it was. The thickness of the handle, and there's no pocket clip in the way this time. 14.76 millimeters, 0.581 of an inch. The handle depth, the biggest spot where you grip is about here, and that is 20.82 millimeters, that's 0.8195 of an inch. And when it's closed, the widest point is here with the flipper, 26.34 millimeters, that's 1.037 inches. The total length when the blade is deployed tip to the tail way back here, 22.7 centimeters, 8.937 inches. So basically 9 inches. 5, a little under 4. Not bad at all. How much does this guy cost? I got mine, actually I don't remember where I got mine. I went looking it up and I couldn't find the records. So yeah, I think this is a pretty good knife. What do I like, dislike, and that kind of stuff? It's well made in every single way, including the pocket clip. I think the pocket clip looks quite nice that they have. I like that you can get it in a coated blade or not, and you've got some nice colors of G10 that you can get it on. I'm going to try to contact HARNDS. I've tried to email them before, but they've never responded. I'd like to see if I can get a pocket clip for this thing. It's a nice knife. It looks good. It feels good. It's pretty comfortable. It's got good lockup, ball bearings. You know, the flipper's got good action. No blade play. The cons are it's a little thick behind the grind, and the detent. The detent is soft on this one. That's not to say that the detent will be soft on every single one of these knives. One thing you need to remember when you watch my reviews, since I buy these retail, that means I'm getting a knife that anybody could get. And so I might have a better knife than you would get when you bought it. I might have a worse knife than you would get when you bought it. Statistics demand that, you know, half the knives are probably better and the other half of the knives are probably worse than this one. It's just the way it is. HARNDS, I've had a number of HARNDS knives where the detent is very good. For some reason, this one has got a very weak detent. I'll try to adjust it as best I can. It looks like the liner with the detent ball is sitting flush against the tang of the blade here, which means the only things I could possibly change is to see if I can make the detent ball come out a little bit, which is tricky to do because you can easily just pop out the detent ball and, well, then you're hooped. Or the other thing I can do that might help a little bit is give this lock arm a little extra spring tension to push that way. That usually doesn't do an awful lot, but it might do something. So yeah, those are pretty much the options that you have on a weak detent. We'll give it a try. So there you go. What do you think of this knife? Please leave your comments down below. Well, this part I'm recording almost 2 days after I recorded the rest. I decided I was going to try to fix the detent, and the ball looked like it was, you know, well engaging. And so I checked out the tension on that lock bar arm, how hard it was pushing that way, and it was just barely pushing that way at all. That's why the lockup was as early as it was, and you know, it was good lockup. It never let go on me. So I gave it more tension, and I couldn't open it. I was pushing and pushing and trying to get it to open, and I couldn't, even with the pivot screw loose enough the way it should be. So I had given it too much tension. And when I did finally get it open, the lock bar went almost all the way across. So I took it back apart again and gave it a little bit less tension. Now you can only adjust these things a few times. If you adjust the tension on these back and forth a lot of times, the steel's going to fatigue in here, it's going to work harden, and then snap. And then your knife's a total piece of garbage. So now it's got a little more tension than it had from the factory. And so now the lockup is, focus, you piece of shit. And so now lockup is fully engaged, just like I like a brand new knife to be. And it's easy enough to disengage. And I can flip it either way that I want to. And when I shake it, you know, hold the handle like this, throw my arm forward and suddenly stop, it almost never opens up on me. So now it passes Canadian law for a centrifugal knife. And hey, this is a really nice knife now. It was, because of the detent, it was an okay knife before. And now it's awesome. Still got the same good blade centering, everything. The only thing lacking, of course, is the pocket clip. If I choose to keep this, I might have my friend make a nice little leather belt pouch for it and wear it on my hip in a, you know, the way Buck 110s are worn, something like that. Power Cutlery is where I bought it. I figured that out, and they do have the very lowest price around. If you really want this knife, but you just don't want it without a pocket clip, you know, then the next best place to go is White Mountain Knives. Get the 10% off with coupon code CCE. Unfortunately, I don't have a coupon code for Power Cutlery unless you're buying Ganzos for the very first time. once per customer, you can use that 5% off coupon code CCE for the Ganzo knives. So yeah, if you like it without the pocket clip, you better get it while you can, because they're not being made that way anymore. All he's got is black G10 with either the black coated or a satin blade without the pocket clip. Thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. Thank you to everybody who likes, shares, and comments. Thank you to the people who have donated. Focus. Focus. Come on, focus. There we go. Thank you to the people who've donated towards my new camera. I still need a whole lot more money coming in. Even if you just give $1, $1, every dollar will help. If enough people give money, then I'll be able to get that camera sooner rather than later. And remember, friends, always cut towards your chum, not your thumb. Bye for now.